Developing and investing in a new healthcare facility can be a great way to control the destiny of your practice, create tax benefits, and create ancillary revenue for your physician partnership. All that in mind, it's critical to understand the processes and potential pitfalls so that you can avoid them in a development process. In collaboration with Ted Baker, Senior Vice President of Cornerstone Companies, a nationally recognized developer and investor in medical facilities, will help shed light on some of the components of a development transaction to ensure you can create a successful outcome. Now we've structured a partnership and developed a new healthcare facility. But once the doors open, what does it really look like once the providers get back to work seeing patients? So Ted, can you shed some light for us on how ongoing operations of the building should function?
Yeah, I think this is a critical point, Colin. Often than not, there's hours and hours of time spent from the physicians and the broader team developing the deal, putting the deal together, working with the contractor to construct the building to the point where the doors open, they go back to providing healthcare services. The asset's still there. So it's critical to understand the needs of real estate on an ongoing day-to-day basis.
And what would you typically see is the management setup? Because certainly a building needs to be managed, right?
Correct.
So what would you say is the management setup post-development? Is that usually something that's handled by a third-party property manager? Is that handled by the developer? Is that handled by the physicians or someone in the practice? What's the best course of action?
Yeah, and I think it's important to note as we think about manage of a building once it's done, we think about the day-to-day property management, but you also have to think about the ongoing asset management or financial management of the partnership of that real estate investment. So on the day-to-day basis, a lot of groups we work with, if they have the internal capabilities, may self-manage their building. They may have a facilities engineer on site or an operations personnel that changes light bulbs, cleans the floors, makes sure janitorial's cleaned up, or hires, outsourced third parties to do those specific tasks. The other route is to hire an experienced third-party property manager that really does that on behalf of the practice so they can focus on what they do best.
And so we've talked about the building and the infrastructure, right? That's the management piece you just elaborated on. What about the partnership structure? I mean, who handles distributions or management of debt? Certainly debt doesn't go on forever, right? And so ultimately that'll have to be refinanced. So how does all that work?
And this, I think, goes back to similar conversations we've had throughout this series where it all depends on the wherewithal or personnel within the physician group itself. Is it a large group with a C-suite, with a CFO potentially, that can manage this process on behalf of their day-to-day activities? We see that oftentimes, but oftentimes there's a shortfall in regards to the time they can spend on really managing a real estate investment. And ultimately, that spans distributions to your point. So, who's doing the accounting? Who's making sure the property from a cash flow perspective is operating efficiently? Who's making sure rents are covering your debt service? There's a lot of factors that go into that. And, again, whether there's the wherewithal internally to do it, or a lot of folks hire an asset manager or investment manager to make sure that their investment for their partnership from the real estate perspective is performing as they originally outlined.
So Ted, it sounds like there's a lot involved, not only in the actual development process, but also in the partnership and asset management on a going forward basis, which a lot of our clients don't think about. Would you agree?
Agreed.
Okay. So I appreciate all the insight that you've shared today, and I hope that everybody watching today finds some benefit. My name's Collin Hart. I'm the CEO and Managing Director of ERE Healthcare Real Estate. If we can help you with anything related to transactions on your medical real estate, structuring leases, or establishing fair market rents, please don't hesitate to reach out.
And I'm Ted Baker, Senior Vice President with Cornerstone Companies, a fully integrated healthcare real estate platform, ultimately working with independent physicians to maximize their investment in healthcare real estate. And we're here to help in any way.